Hello, Weebs and Normies. Welcome to the Anime Club. I'm Graham.
And I'm George.
All right, George. It's been a bit of a rough spot for Tower of God over the last 2 to 3 episodes. How are you feeling on your expectations of it getting better?
On it getting better.
Yeah. You have high hopes for that?
I don't think it's going to get better. I think it's going to be this way. I don't know. I heard through the grapevine that it's going to be a 2-core thing. So if anything, maybe second core could be better. But at least, you know, these episodes, they've been done for a while, and this is as done as they're going to be. So it's not going to get any better.
Yeah, pacing and animation is really rough. And that's kind of affecting the story and the character writing itself as well, especially the pacing, because there's some stuff that just cut out. So now the story seems kind of more disjointed and characters feel more odd than they're
like
supposed to be.
Every episode that we release, we get stuff in the comments like, oh yeah, this is kind of what's happening. We're getting like the filler things that should have been not filler, but we're getting filled in on things that should have been included in the actual episode. So yeah, and we're also seeing some comments of people, you know, some people just love Tower of God so much they'll take what they can, and then other people are just, bro, this is disappointing. This is not the animation Tower of God deserves. And I land on that camp. I haven't read the comic, the manhwa, but still, like, the story is very interesting. I wish like the actual animation and everything could keep up with it, because the story, at least from all of the stuff I saw in season 1, has so much promise. It's definitely hooked me. It's now, can it keep me hooked through the other aspects that I've come to expect in anime? So
yeah, it's not doing a great job so far. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
So if it doesn't, if we don't see a turnaround at the end of this season or the first half of this season, and we don't see any major improvements for the second core, it might not have a future on TAC
on
here.
The channel.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah, I might pick up the manhwa if we do that, because I want to know how this ends. I know it's still ongoing, but like I want to find out what the heck's happening.
Yeah. So
that might be something I do, but we'll see. We'll see. Let's just hope for the best, and when it doesn't happen, we'll deal with it then.
Yeah, exactly, right? All right, well, let's check out what this one has to offer.
Okay, let's do it.
That's our guy in Viole's thing, right?
Yeah, but who is...
Oh, no, maybe not.
It's somebody else with powers like him? Oh, okay, so that's actually him. We assumed it was...
Yeah.
We assumed it was this guy, but it's somebody else. Okay.
Right. Jeez.
Oh my gosh.
Did they make them into weapons? That's
crazy. It looks like that's what they did. Are they being suspended from the ceiling?
Oh no. They're in like a vat of Shinzu, maybe?
Oh, wow.
Jeez, imagine, like, what a freaking existence.
Sophia, huh?
This is like a whole flashback.
Yeah. I predict she helped him escape. And then something happened to her.
Yeah, maybe. Oh. He wasn't supposed
something
to
happened to her. Yeah. Oh no. Oh, they're going in on an operation or something. Living ignition weapons.
Okay.
そして俺を探してる。だったら俺も笠野に会わなきゃいけない。だから俺はもう。よし、じゃあみんな。
Why didn't they meet on the 20th floor though? If he was looking for him.
I don't know. Good question. Yeah, he goes by Kang too, instead of whatever other name
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, true.
he was given. Hmm. Bro, how can you freaking burn stuff so badly?
Gotta eat your own cooking. Come on now.
This challenge too.
Oh, it's the same thing.
Oh.
Oh, frick. Okay.
Did he just take the hit?
I think he.
Oh.
Oh, maybe not.
Maybe he's something different.
Oh. What the frick?
He's leaving the group? Bro, I like this guy. I don't want him to leave the group.
Yeah, what?
Oh, he's going to look for the guy.
What do you mean? Viola is like incredibly strong. To be fair, Wagner probably wanted him for his pricking power, though.
True. At least initially. He can't keep it to himself that Kong left, though, right?
Yeah, it's so weird.
Like...
So why are they going to try and kill the fucking...
I liked this song at the end, but it had a feel of like they're going on like a special mission. Like it was a song that like portrayed a lot of determination and like culmination of a lot of work that's been done. But it doesn't feel that way story-wise. It's just we got to go see this guy because he beat, what's the samurai's name again?
Hats.
He beat Hats, so we got to go see this guy. Which is like, okay, fair enough. But that's not the impression I felt from the song and from like the preparation. Like it feels like there's something much more meaningful about this guy. I don't know.
It's not being like conveyed through the dialogue and like the situation.
Like I don't get it. I don't like. Okay, he's on the 28th floor. I guess what's his face? Kun, they're on the 28th floor right now as well.
Yeah, I guess so. Like they're going out to get him, or they're like close to it.
And Bam's on the 28th floor.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're on all on the 28th floor right now. Okay.
Yeah, it just seemed like, I don't know, there was a bunch of scenes, especially in the last half of this episode, where I felt like, I don't know if it was just me, but it felt like they were just kind of like very disconnected, almost random scenes. Like, especially this last scene is just like all of a sudden, like one of the characters is sick, and then he has to stay And it's like, oh, all right. Like it's just it seems almost like certain parts of it were felt a bit like random and almost like barely loosely connected. So I don't know. It seems a little strange.
The sick thing, it's like whatever. Like I mean, people get sick and it is kind of random.
Yeah.
So that part is like whatever to me. That doesn't bother me. It's just more like, what's his name? Kang's motivation for leaving, I can understand much more because this is like his brother essentially, and he wants to go see his brother. You brought up a good point as to why he didn't look for him in floor 20 when he had the opportunity. Maybe he did, weird. And then they missed each other, and he was already in another.
Yeah, but why
floor.
Didn't they explain that then?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they either left something out. They left something out as to why he didn't find him in the 20th floor. Or maybe they'll talk about it later, but it just feels weird to talk about it later. Yeah. I don't know. There's something missing as to why Kun wants to go after this guy. Maybe he just wants to get him into his group, and it's like, okay, like a couple of lines would have been good enough to infer that. It's like, oh, like, when I forget her name, but the blonde lady, she's like, hey, we found the guy that you've been looking for. He's like, finally, can't wait to add him, or something like that, right? Like, just like even just something to tell me why he wants to search after him, aside from just he beat Huts.
Yeah, I feel like in season 1, there was a lot of mystery. There was like a lot of information, and we were going along. Like the story that we were dealing with, I felt like I always kind of knew what was going on. And then there were all these like little mysteries that they would like dot around the main story that we were following. But in season 2, I feel like it's not, there are some mysteries, yeah, but it feels like a lot of things just aren't explained properly. I feel like there's like holes in the main story that I'm watching that are just kind of missing and don't feel complete, right? Like, it feels more spotty, and people have talked about things being missing from this adaptation, so that's probably a big part of it. But I don't know, it just seems like it doesn't feel the same. Like I feel more confused than I did like longing for some kind of interesting explanation, some kind of mystery. Like in the first season when they didn't explain something, I was like, oh, I wonder what that's all about. Like, it was clear that that was supposed to be a mystery. But now it feels like when some of this stuff is coming up, I'm just kind of like, am I supposed to not know this? Like, it feels like I should kind of know what's going on in this situation, what the motivation is here, just so I can, like, be a part of what's going on in the story right now. Right?
Yeah, there was definitely, like, in season 1, it was all lore. You wanted to know more about the lore. But there was no like plot holes. Like the main character plot, like it was, pretty. You followed it all the way through. Whereas, I don't know. I'm just like I really liked the backstory. Cons. I mean, I'm terrible with names. Yeah, like, holy crap.
Yeah.
His backstory, like that was awesome. That there's some organization trying to do some shady organization trying to create like living weapons. They showed it right after they showed Emily, and like it looks like the same kind of organization that would do something like this. Like I could see them being the creators behind Emily, and probably a reason why they introduced her when they did. And so like all that, like I was like, man, I wish like not a lot happened to move the story, Bam's story along, but it was like they were giving us info that I was like enjoying receiving and all that stuff. Like all that was great. And then came the part of like, okay, why didn't they see each other in floor 20? I don't need all the answers right now. Maybe this is something that they explain later, but unfortunately the season has shown itself so far to not explain things. So instead of me now thinking, oh, this is just something that they'll explain in the future, I'm sitting, oh, they didn't explain something, and now I'm trying to like catch up. That's the same feeling that I'm feeling about Kun going after them. Maybe this is something that they tell us later. Fair enough, right? Like things, there's better ways to explain things and all that stuff. But like, I don't care. Well, I do care, obviously, but at the end of the day, I just want it explained. But I don't feel that way. I don't like. I'm willing to be patient with stories and let them unfold, but the patience is gone because how much the story has already left out.
Right.
That makes sense. So
yeah, it makes
now
sense.
I'm just. Yeah, I was gonna say, now I'm just sitting here thinking, oh well, they missed that part of the story, and I'm not really gonna find out organically. And maybe I'm wrong, and this is something they do explain later. But like, how many times am I gonna feel like this because of all the stuff they already left out, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah, I also feel like characters are kind of just like acting in certain ways to move the plot forward. And so, like, for example, initially at the beginning of this season, it was all about like this new group of people and them kind of becoming close. Now they cut out a lot of that, so we haven't really felt that way in this season so far. But allegedly the group is like much tighter knit now. They've been like traveling together for years at this point, which is crazy from our perspective. But like they're and the whole like tying thread is like friendship and unity and working together and getting through the tower together and trusting each other. That's like been the whole theme, right? Like Wagnon's like the whole linchpin to that whole concept, right? And they've used Wagnon in a lot of ways to kind of show that, sometimes for better or for worse. And so, but it feels like so strange that like, okay, now Kang is like, oh, well, I'm just going to go do this myself. Well, wait, but that's fucking so weird. But then it's like, okay, maybe I can accept that he's just going to go do some stuff by himself. It's a bit of like a twist to his character. Sure. Okay, fine. But like Violet just being like, he's supposed to be the guy who cares about his friends. So not only does he let Kang go to do this like whole thing, which I feel like just doesn't really make any sense. Like if Violet really cares about his friends that much, he'd be like, no, I'm going to help you. Like the old Bam would have helped him, right? The old Bam would be like, you're not going to do this by yourself. I'm here to help you. We're friends. We're going to do it together, right? Like let's rely on our team. Just think of like old innocent Bam. He'd be like, no, we're gonna do it together. We're gonna do it together with our friends and our team because that's what we do. We help each other, right? He'd say something freaking cheesy like that.
Yes.
And then he goes and then doesn't explain to anyone that Kang is gone.
That part
and
was
he's just
weird.
like, now I'm just going to go to
weird.
bed. It's just like, this whole thing seems like characters are starting to like semi-character assassinate themselves just so they can move the plot forward and do things that I don't feel like they would have typically done. Some twists here or there is fine, but like this seems, it's getting a little weird.
What about Kang doing this by himself puts you off?
It's just kind of like going against the theme of what they've been building here. I maybe it's because like we haven't seen these characters as tight knit, but the assumption is that they're supposed to be more tight knit, and I haven't seen enough of his character to like if they had shown this season the characters like growing and progressing more properly together, and in the time that it was supposed to take to really kind of bring them together. And then throughout that, they kind of put these little things here where Kang is still kind of being distant, even despite the fact that everyone's getting closer and closer. And he's getting a little bit closer, but he's still kind of like got these moments where you're like, something's up. Something is preventing him from really connecting with everyone on that deep level that everyone else is connecting with. But we didn't see any of that stuff with the characters in general, and we certainly didn't see those little kind of drops, those little hints along the way with him either, because, neither situation existed. So for me, it's kind of like, well, I'm just going to have to take the theme of it, of like the characters, because that's been the theme so far. Violet wants to protect his friends, and then Wagnon's like, I want to protect my friends. Like, even though someone was just freaking murdered, like, several episodes ago, they, like, heel turned and turn around and were like, oh, let's celebrate because friendship and stuff, right? So they're really freaking hitting on that. So if I want to believe that that's how it's supposed to go, it just seems weird that he's just like, oh, no, I'm not explaining anything. I'm just going to go do this. It's like, we don't even know if he's going to fight him. We don't know if they're going to be friends. We don't know if they're going to work together. We have no idea what the intention is here. So it just seems like very strange.
Yeah, the feeling I got from Kang was because I almost would have. I think like the way you described it is like him being distant, like still being reserved and all that stuff. Like it. I think that maybe would have sold it a little bit less for me. Him trying to go by himself. The feeling I got from him was that he was going by himself because he didn't want to put his friends in danger. But because like he gave this whole speech of like, you guys are like my family. You guys are my family. And like, you know, I don't want to like, whatever Bam said, he's like, it might be a trap. He's like, all the more reason. Like, I don't want to put you guys in danger. You guys are like my family. But there's two things that for me, like that's the impression that I got. But it was an incomplete expression. There's two things that I think would have sold it for me more. One, if we had found out why he didn't go after him in floor 20. Was he afraid? Was he reserved? Like he didn't know? Like because they said that they became madmen, right? Like is Kang keeping it under control
at all?
Exactly, right? Crazy. Like that's the thing. Like is Kang keeping it under control and Kasano is not? And maybe that's why he's like, well, I didn't want to see him in floor 20 because he's like he's gone crazy. Like I heard stories,
if they
but
would have shown them fighting on floor 20 and like people dying and stuff and be like, I don't want the same repeat as what happened last time. It'd be like, okay, fair enough. Like that makes some more sense.
Yeah, like from I'm inferring here from his mention of, you know, you guys are like my family, that he's like, no, I want to keep you guys safe. And so that's why I'm going by myself. Bam not saying anything to King to keep, well, I guess he did say him, but like at the end he let him go. That part again, a lot of inferring. Like I wish I didn't have to do this. I wish it just organically came to me through the story, but he's under the pressure of Fug. We already know that. He can't miss like any tests, like fail tests, I guess. But like I'm assuming he also just, you know, has to go as soon as possible. He can't like delay and all that stuff. So it's like, do I let Kang go and sacrifice my other friends and all that stuff? So that's kind of what I'm taking out of it. And then two, the other thing I was going to mention about Kang staying was how you said we're told, we're not shown, we're told that they're tight knit, right? And so, and again, he did this whole speech about them being like your family. So yeah, so all these things combined, I'm inferring all that, but it makes it so that I can accept it. I can accept that. That was one of the easier things to accept this episode of King just wanting to go by himself.
Right.
But again, the problem is that I'm having to give the benefit of the doubt to the story where I otherwise wouldn't want to. I wish I like knew, right? I wish I just knew. I wish I didn't have to be like, oh yeah, this is now my headcanon and now it makes sense to me. It's no, like this is legitimately what's going on. And maybe it is, but again, the portrayal of it has been lacking, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's man, it just doesn't feel as cohesive and like, I don't know. There's just it's such a step down. I feel like it feels like the character writing. It feels like it's just a different story in almost every regard, from character writing, situation, even like the lore. It just doesn't feel as interesting and mysterious as it was before. It just seems kind of, I don't know, something more generic.
Yeah. I think what's been lost because of their missteps, and I already said this already, but just to reiterate, the story, you were willing to like give it the benefit of the doubt before, like in season 1, when something wasn't answered, it was like, oh, well, it's not answered because it's not supposed to be answered yet. Whereas season 2, it's like, oh, it's not answered because they glossed over it. And it's just like that gives you two completely different perspectives.
But I also didn't need certain things that they like kind of teased in season 1. I didn't need those things to be answered to enjoy the story that was happening at the moment. Right?
Yeah.
Like it feels like there's a bunch of things happening in season 2 that like, because they're not answered, I'm just not able to freaking go along with what's happening. It just feels like so much is missing for me to be able to like get on board with what's going on right now, not just like what's happening in the future. Because like it's like what's going on with Fug and the robot guy and what they're gonna do with Viola. That's like a big mystery, but I'm totally fine not knowing that yet because I know that that's gonna come, right? That's something in the background that they're building. But this whole like, what are the characters' motivations right now for what they're doing, and what is their relationship right now? And there's so many holes missing in that. It's just like, well, I can't freaking appreciate what's happening right now. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
it's too bad.
yeah.
I can't wait. Please let us know what we missed in the comments. Like, I can't wait for people to fill us in because,
Yeah.
it's, yeah, I don't know what to say. I guess we can just leave it at that. Please fill us in, right? Okay, well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this reaction. Like I said, let us know what we missed. Maybe we got some things wrong. Maybe we even overlooked something that was just clear as day in this episode. But if so, please let us know. If you want to watch all our other stuff 2 weeks ahead of time, go ahead and check out our Patreon. But with that, we'll see you guys next time.
Everybody.